There we go. Cool. If you want to call out something on Twitter, just let everybody know we're going to be starting in a minute. But we welcome folks. People showing up now. So we usually use this time to run through some VR field trips for some of our VRM work and things like that. But we thought this week it'd be cool to switch up a little bit because Avastar team has been working on a lot of stuff in the background for quite a long time now, right, Walshy?
It's been a huge endeavor. Huge is probably an understatement, to be perfectly honest. Obviously, we've got 3Ds on the way, but we've been working kind of low-key on the marketplace. Like Tris said, just an absolutely massive undertaking, and thankfully, we can see the finish line now, and we're able to take any of our viewers today along with us through a demonstration of what the marketplace can do. So really looking forward to that.
Yeah. Some of this is actually, it'd be good for folks who, so obviously this whole presentation is about Avastars. It's why we wanted to do virtual field trips with them, to show what happens when you've got your custom VRM to do on field trips. But Avastars itself has a bunch of background, from way back when we first developed it. It was the first fully, all of imagery is on chain completely. So it's actually on the Ethereum network, not on IPFS or anything like that. We've got each Avastar has 12 traits that can be used to make replicants, things like that. And so a big part when we first launched, say if you had a bunch of Avastars, you could take, you needed at least 2, you could have it max 5, and you could take traits off them and mix them up to create a new, we called it replicant, which was sort of like, it's not a clone because you're creating a new Avastar with these traits, but in the past you had to own all the primes. So with the new marketplace, we're introducing custom in-house marketplace, so you can buy and sell your primes on ours without having to go to OpenSea. So you can find certain special deals and things like that might be off a little bit. You can also list specific traits for sale as well, instead of a whole Avastar, which is a whole new ball game, because now each Avastar basically has 12 different additional assets that you could potentially sell off individually or move them around without having to get rid of your main asset. So I'm really excited to see what the market does with this.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun because it should make replicant creation more affordable for people who are, just looking to pick up a specific trait, but not necessarily looking to buy an entire Avastar Prime just for the sake of maybe a skin tone or a facial feature or a hairstyle. It should be noted, though, and I see Steady Freddy here, so I know that you're one of our active users that might actually be diving into this upon Marketplace launch. Just so that we're clear, the way that trait buying works is through the minting process of said replicant, and you are limited to one trait. Essentially takes the place of an entire prime. So typically you can use 2 to 5 primes to create a replicant. If you're buying a trait, you're doing so as part of the minting process, and that single trait will take up an entire Avastar Prime slot. So it will fill one of your 2 to 5 Prime slot allocations. Having said that, if you purchase multiple traits from the same Prime, it only takes up the same slot. It's not taking up 2 slots. So if you're able to find one Prime that has multiple traits for sale, you're not filling up 2 of those 5 slots that you have access to. I know that's a little bit confusing, but we're going to run you guys through it. And once you get a chance to play with this, it's going to make a lot more sense.
Yeah, that's a good call out. I was not thinking about that. I'm just excited for the technical back end to make it work and everything. But you're right, when it comes to the original intent was that if you wanted to make a replicant, you had to use at least multiple. There are no copies of Avastar, so you can't. We're not going to let you use all the traits from one Avastar because you'd create a clone of the first Avastar, obviously. So you need to have at least 2, and you can have up to 5. But just because you're buying traits from other people's Avastars, that doesn't mean you're just buying the trait. You're actually, in essence, pulling it from that Prime, so that Prime fills one of those slots. Good call out.
Yeah, and we've got a pretty small audience here, so like IG and Steady Freddy, if you guys got questions, feel free to like drop them in the in either the stage chat or in the main chat. Either way, we'll see it. And I know there's a few people that can't be here right now that wanted to be a part of this demonstration, like Ling Ling and a few others. Feel free to fill those folks in if they, if they ask you how this stream went, or direct them to Trislet or I, and we'll be able to help them out and give them the TLDR or the ELI5 as one would say.
Yeah, we're also live streaming this to YouTube and Twitch, the Token Smart YouTube and everything. So there'll be recordings for people to watch if they want. But
Freddie would like to know, what files are you guys using for the videos? They look awesome. Are you talking about the 3D VRM files we're using, Freddie? Because if so, yeah. So these are the 3D models that you're going to be getting. Obviously, I have my Avastar. Trislet has his. But your Steady Freddy PFP will be, you'll be getting a 3D version of him, hopefully in the near future. We're hoping that'll be out this summer. We can't give a date just yet, but what you're seeing right here is basically the VRM imported to a program called VC Face. And VC Face allows you to use your 3D VRM, so long as it's fully rigged, as a VTube model. And the program VC Face has all of the features that you need for it to track your mouth and your blinking and your head movements, and to port that all over to a streaming platform like OBS or whatever platform it might be that you're using. For myself, I use VC Face and OBS. That's not the end all be all. There's other options, but yeah. So this is basically the VRM file that you're going to be getting. You're going to be able to do something very similar to this once you get your file.
I am pretty excited for that to come out too, but that's one thing at a time. The marketplace is what we've got ramping up and in testing to the point where we can show it off right now. But the 3D VRM stuff is really exciting too. We got that stuff coming soon. So yeah, let's take a look, because I'm sure, most people that who have been in the Avastars for a while, you know the site. We've made some changes to the site to make it a little easier to separate, because now we have a marketplace and the replicant factory, and we're changing some of the URLs as well to try to consolidate, make it simpler instead of having to go through a bunch of subdomains. So trying to make one spot to go in for all your replicant and technical needs. This is also going to be eventually where we start delivering some of the 3D stuff. So we've got a lot of stuff in the works with that too. But
yeah, so obviously on the landing page here, guys, we've got the marketplace and the replicant factory. For folks that have already read the orientations and the starter guide, you can just hop right in and start messing around with it. Obviously, once you guys get access to this website, it's probably best that you read the guides before diving in, because, as I say, there are some new features here. Things are going to be located maybe in different places than you're used to seeing, but overall, it's a fairly intuitive experience.
yeah, let's see. Where should we go? We can, well, instead of starting at the replicant factory, you should probably start at the marketplace, right? That's where people, that's what they want to see.
Absolutely. Let's teleport into the marketplace.
Yeah, so some of the things that'll be really interesting to see is we've got some how-tos to write up and everything to make sure we can walk people through, because obviously it's a little different than what you would see on OpenSea, because we're very targeted to the Avastar ecosystem in that we have primes, replicants, but now we also have the traits flag. And the traits are kind of slick because we've been able to, so we've been testing this and listing a couple, so you can see the way we've gone about listing some of these things. So when you go to the marketplace, look for a trait, we've tried to extrapolate what the trait looks like, but obfuscated it away from the original prime, so you can kind of get a rough idea of what it's going to look like on your prototype when you go to design something.
Yeah, basically it's as though if you're looking at a hairstyle, we've basically used like a default face shape with kind of like a silhouette, so that you're not getting confused and accidentally purchasing, let's say, a hairstyle whenever you thought you were buying a hair color. or like yeah, I mean like an eye shape rather than an eye color. You know, there's different variables here that could kind of cause some confusion. So we've done our best to be very clear as to which trade it is that you're looking at and which trade it is that you're going to be buying in conjunction with the minting process.
For instance, this is a good call out for that, and that I listed a bumpy nose. So you can see it's on a face to give you an idea what it is, but it's the nose, and that's why it's listed, you know, so you need to keep an eye on what you're looking for trades.
Be sure to read the titles.
Here. Yes.
Yeah. Be sure to read the trait type very carefully, just so that you don't get mixed up and get wrecked.
Like, for instance, this one is, even though it's got this style, what you're buying is the color. So that'll be a fun one to like wade through and look at. But this is about the best way we can have to display something easy to understand, but also like make sure to read what you're buying. Especially if somebody went out of their way to list it super high and you need it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
so maybe while you're
actually listed, do we?
While you're on the trait page, Trizlet, maybe I'll just give a quick example as to how simple it is to list a trait for sale and what that looks like.
Yeah, gotta go to your portfolio. Let's check out all of Walsh's Avastars.
So we go to my portfolio, and in this wallet, you've seen where I've done some messing around here. I've got a prototype with some active transactions. We'll just ignore that. You can see my replicants here. This is my most recent replicant that I made as a tester on mainnet, and it went through just fine. Of course, you can see my primes. You can see traits, which is going to essentially show me all of my primes with available traits. And then you can check what you have for sale on the marketplace, obviously under the for sale tab at the far right. I've got one prime listed just as a tester. And then you can see that I've also got 2 traits listed. Guy's a replicant. I don't know why it's showing as a trait listed. You might have to look further into that later, Tris, but
yeah, try posting a trait up, and then I'll refresh, and then we can try putting a prototype together real quick, and I can try buying a trait from you.
Right on. Just let me refresh this really quick because that's kind of particular. Okay. So I'm not going to list one from any of my beloved PFP Avastars or anything with a really low serial number. So let's see here.
It's funny when it came to testing because I was trying to post stuff, you know, as we went through some of the testing things, and I like a lot of my Avastars. I found them when I was scrolling years ago, so now I'm like, oh no, I don't like. If I list this, will Walsh go out and buy one off me?
Yeah, like
Big Bell, steal this from me.
This guy here's my PFP, and it was my first double legendary that I scrolled for. So even though he's not a Series 1, he's not like a super rare Avastar. I just really remember this moment in time when I was new to NFTs, and I scrolled for days and found a 2x ledge. So I just can't bring myself to burn traits there. 1519, I bought this from Pranksy, I believe, or it was a Pranksy mint. Of course, that's an S1. There's not a chance I'm going to burn a trait off of that. So this guy's an epic. I got him as a gift from one of our longtime supporters and a friend of mine, Capricar. So I can't burn a trait off that, but we'll burn a trait off of this captain, or list a trait off of this captain rather.
I suppose in prep we should have just gone to OpenSea and bought something off the floor, huh?
I mean, it's this one here's fine. I'll list a common trait off of this guy. So let's go with lilac white background color.
Sweet.
So you get to choose an expiry date. And in this case, I'll just pick the 22nd as an expiry date since this is just for the sake of demonstration. And of course, you get to pick your price. It's going to be interesting to see price discovery on traits because Avastars have a fairly affordable floor. So deciding how the trait breakdown works is going to be something that happens from the community. It's not going to be us that decides that. It'll be you guys. So I'm just going to list this for the sake of experimentation at 0.001 ETH, and we'll confirm. Of course, I will get my... Are you able to see my MetaMask pop up here, Tris?
Nope.
It's hiding that from you?
Yeah, it hides it from you. That's
okay.
A security thing, yeah.
Just for full transparency, the gas fee right now, gas is at around 26 Gwei. So the gas fee for listing this trait is about $3.37 if we're talking in USD, or it's at 0.0017 ETH. So it's quite affordable as long as gas isn't going crazy to list traits. Replicant creation, of course, is a different story because of all of the different processes that are taking place.
So as far as the consolidation stuff goes, we've rewritten some of the moving contracts. The marketplace contract does a lot of the approval, the trade access approval, the art spend, the burning portion, and the replicant mint piece. So it does all those actions, whereas in the past it was 2 or 3 approvals you'd have to go. It should be able to do with just one now. At least it was when we were testing some of our stuff, but we'll take a look at it real quick. But I remember it was more expensive than one was, but it was less than all of them combined.
So that trait should be listed now at a cost of just over $3, which is really reasonable.
So let's see. I'll refresh this.
Yeah, Tris, we have to take a look at this after, pal. I don't know why this replicant is showing with a trait listed. That's interesting.
So you can see this is the lilac white background color. So it doesn't have an actual picture on it. It's just because it's just the background. So I don't have any prototypes. So one thing that's going to be very interesting to see what folks do is anybody who was used to creating replicants in the past knows how the replicant factory works. So we can run through a real quick one. Let's see if I want to. Let's see. We got to go create a replicant, don't we?
Yeah, the order of operations is incredibly important here.
Yeah, I need to get.
So your order of operations should look like this. You should go and create yourself a prototype, and then you should look at the trait marketplace. And then you can add the trait that you're looking to buy to the saved prototype, and then you can kick off the minting process. The trait will be purchased in the minting process of the replicant.
So let's see. If I wanted to... I'll pick this guy, and who else do I want? Let's see. I burned some traits off these guys, so... go into the builder. Actually, it came out pretty good with the randomized, didn't it? But let's see. Cool, so I want to save this prototype. Yeah, I like that guy. But I don't like the background, so I'm going to go to the marketplace. I am going to look around and see for a better background, which there happens to be one, right? So I want to add this to my saved prototype. Now, let's see if it's going to work. I did not like some of it. Let's see, background color. No, it worked, because it's the color. Lilac White Common. From 9404. So the actual prime that you listed was 9404. So when you're in here, you can see now this guy has traits from 4 different Avastars, whereas I just listed the 3. So with this, you can save it. Now, one thing to note is that if somebody's selling one, if you save it and then you don't create it right now, like Walsh could go delist it. So if you see something you want that you can't usually buy or you usually can't find, you might want to mint it before the other guy moves it if they express interest in it. It'll be a really interesting thing to see what happens with market discovery on that one. But let's see.
Let's field this question from Steady Freddy really quick, Tris. Can you add traits to your prime, like my PFP, or change skin color, etc., or are you making a replicant with the pieces? Do you need a base to build, or can you build from pieces on the marketplace? So, Freddie, this is all as a part of replicant creation. So you can never alter your prime, but you can use the traits from your prime to create a similar looking replicant with the tweaks that you would like. And the traits that you're buying basically count as one of your prime slots towards the replicant, your 2 to 5 prime slots.
Right.
If that answers your question.
So you do need to own at least one prime because you have to have something to start a replicant prototype with. You're not going to be able to save a prototype if you don't own at least one prime to start it, basically. Like right now, if I save this prototype, it'll save that lilac white that's listed. And if I go back in, like I can go back to the marketplace and I could probably, because I think you had there's another one listed. Unless, of course, everything freezes on me.
It's basically the same as it was, Freddie. It's just the difference now is that you can buy an individual trait towards your replicant rather than having to buy the whole prime and then burn the trait. And rather than having to have 2 to 5 primes, now you're able to just have one prime, and then you can like add a trait to the prototype. So figuratively speaking here, like you don't have to own as many Avastars now to create a replicant. You can create a replicant with one Avastar instead of 2.
So like what I just did just now, I went into the marketplace, I saved the other prototype that had the lilac white background, and I just saved it, and I went back to the marketplace and I found that ash blonde trait that was listed as well and added that to the prototype. So as of right now, I've got 5 primes shown in this prototype that I'm creating. 2 of them are just one trait from those primes that are available on the marketplace. So let's see, if I go to mint this replicant, then what it should do is it should charge me to buy both those traits and then start the replicant creation process. Basically, it's going to ask me to approve my prime, access to my primes that I own, as well as buy each of the other traits off the marketplace. So you can see when you hit when I go to mint, it says there's 2 purchases, there's traits, this uncommon hair color, ash blonde, which is 0.001 ETH, and this background color, which is lilac white, which is 0.001. So these are going to be your notification boxes that you should probably read so you understand what you're buying and how much you're paying before you hit the go button. But with this, for anybody who's created a replicant before, you know the one to start it. So we can skip this introduction probably, because right now it's getting started, but it won't actually ask me for approval until we're on the next phase and on the next step. So let's see, approve trade access. Oh, right now it doesn't know, it's not able to estimate gas, so it's having some trouble seeing what the gas cost is going to be. That's a fun one. Let's try doing something else. Let's try getting... You know what? I bet you. I wonder if it's because I didn't save it. Ah, that's right. So good call. Some of these notifications, what just popped up on my screen, we've limited it so you have to wait 3 minutes between starting a replicant mint. Now, the reason for that is because we ran into a lot of interesting technical issues for people who would try to mint multiple ones, because they would try to use, sometimes people try to use traits that had just been burned, like in the transaction just before it. And then it would cause sometimes things to freeze and stop, and then we'd have to go in and clear it. And sometimes it would start trying to burn a trait, but it wouldn't, so it would have you pay the gas before it failed. So we were having trouble with that. So basically at this point now you need to wait 3 minutes between mint attempts.
Do you need your cache cleared or anything, Tris?
I don't think so. I just need to wait 3 minutes.
I've found that if you fast forward through the video, it sometimes brings you to the wrong transaction. So I find if you just watch the video, although it is kind of daunting.
That's all right. I was also thinking, because I was making it, I was adding multiple ones from the marketplace.
Another feature that we're adding to this website is push notifications. So it's totally optional, obviously, but you can turn push notifications on, and you can add an email address. Again, totally optional. Some people don't want to do that, but I mean, you can create an email address specifically for these types of notifications so that you can maintain anonymity and still stay up to date with purchases and different things that are happening on avastars.app.
Actually, that's a good call out. Yeah. He was just talking about some of these, the notification settings on these. You can, so you put in your email address, and then you can actually, you need to, if you have your email address, now that we have a marketplace, you'll get email when somebody buys a trait from you, you know, or when you buy one, it'll send you some of these notifications when your auctions expires, that sort of thing. You can also turn on push notifications. Push notifications will make these notifications show up in your browser. So you can click, we now have this option here. If you click this, it'll show you what notifications you've received. So if you're in this marketplace a lot and posting and buying constantly, you'll get a lot more feedback. Let's see. I think it's been 3 minutes. Yeah, now you can see
Might
I have
pretty
one.
close. I still see the lilac white trait listed on marketplace.
Right. Well, it's until it actually is used, right, burned and used for my replicant, it should still be available. I suppose.
Make sure to give yourself a refresh too on the top of the screen by your gas indicator.
Right. So right now we're running through the instructional video on what's happening as it's pulling our traits.
And just so you're all aware, this is very new to being tested on mainnet. We've tested the hell out of this on Gorley testnet, but when you deploy to mainnet, there can be new obstacles that you uncover and new bugs that you detect that weren't so evident on test networks. So this is very much a process in which we're sussing out all of the bugs while we go.
Yeah, let's pull some traits off these.
Yeah, the video is pretty cool.
So this is giving me some trouble where it's not able to estimate the gas.
You got a couple $100 worth of ETH in there?
Yeah, but I don't have. It's estimating it at $3,000 worth of ETH. I don't have that much ETH in there. Just because it's having trouble estimating the gas, so it's throwing an error. Let's try refreshing.
Let me give one a try. Let me give one a try here.
Yeah, you create one.
Let's go to the replicant factory, boys and girls. Which unlucky replicants are going to get burned? Let's burn some traits from this guy or this girl. Burn some traits here. Or actually, yeah, I guess we'll have to select 2. Builder. And we will just save the prototype as it. Oh, well, no, we're not going to burn the rare one yet. We'll generate a random. Let's see what we get.
I know sometimes they come out pretty good with a random.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm trying to think what one's going to look cool as a 3D. This one's pretty damn cool. Let's go with this one. So I'll save this prototype. And then we'll go check out the traits for sale in Marketplace. I've got 2 listed. So the only one available is the bumpy nose.
Yeah, I think I posted that. So maybe.
So we'll add the bumpy nose here. Bumpy. So we see that it has been listed as bumpy. Confirm purchase. I know that you guys can all see this, but it's just showing you that the price of the nose is 0.0001. You confirm. Oh, you know what? I don't have any ART, Tris. Do you have an ART on you?
Yes. Hold on.
I moved funds to my wallet, but I forgot ART. It's walshy.eth. I'll hit you back after the stream.
Let's see. I've got to look up the address for art tokens.
Oh, that's an easy one. In the Avastars Discord, it's just an ART FAQ. I'll post it here. I posted it in the chat, Tris.
Excellent.
You wanted the ART contract address, right?
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's over to walshy.eth, right?
Walshy.eth, you got her.
Yeah, let's send you a couple art. On its way. I know, we need to go on and start listing all kinds of traits, don't we?
10 seconds ago. Damn, you used fast gas, didn't you?
Yeah, trying to get it over to you.
Alrighty, so let's see if this one works. Oh no, it looks like you don't have any ART. I do have ART.
Here, I can list some other stuff too. How's about... Oh, you're already doing it. I was going to say, a full beard sound like it'd be pretty good on her.
Yeah, it looks like it's already kicked off.
Okay.
I like that scene in the observation deck where they're looking out the window onto planned Avastar. That's what I typically use for my background when I'm using my VRM. If I'm in a Zoom call or something, that's what I'll use as the backdrop, and then I'll post my VRM on the front layer, and it looks pretty clean. And on theme, of course.
Right, which is half the battle. Right? You can't just throw random stuff. It's got to follow the theme.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I don't have my astronaut VRM yet, so it's going to be even cooler whenever we have some space helmets floating around there with like a space backdrop, or one of NASA's new images from the James Webb Telescope, something along those lines would be pretty cool.
How does that look? So we're going through his now. I've now listed another trait. I can go on and list some more, but this big full beard would have looked pretty good on that girl. Oh well.
That's something I don't say very often. She would have looked better with a beard. All right. Network is busy. Gas prices are high, but they're not, though. That's only $4. I like the looks of that. So that was the first transaction, $3.98. I believe that was probably trade approval. And now we are at the contract interaction where I believe we're going to burn traits. So this is the more costly transaction. Right now it's at $41. And this should be the transaction that burns traits as well as purchases the Avastar.
Right. For anybody who feels like, let's see if we can. Depending on how much into this you are, you can go over to the contract. You can follow it. You can see trade access has been approved. You can see it attempting to go through. So it's attempting to process it. You can see it took the ETH, so he bought the piece. Oh, it doesn't look something about the transaction.
Yeah, so like we say, this is very much still being tested. So we're going to have to look into that a little bit further, but that gives you a basic idea of the order of operations involved in creating a prototype on the new website, finding traits on the open marketplace on the new website, and using those traits as part of the minting process of your new replicants. So we'll have to do some, we're going to have to dive into some code after this stream, Tris, and rally the devs. But this is all
we were going to have to. But
this is all a part of the battle testing process. It wouldn't be a proper launch if we didn't break a few things in the process.
Right. I'd rather have it break for you and I than everybody else pouring in to try to create new ones.
Absolutely. So what else is...
I mean, yeah, I'd like to know, like if anybody wanted to provide feedback or thoughts on a lot of this is definitely because Avastars is a very unique project. There's not a lot of projects that have, all the extra pieces we're trying to do here. So some of this is like a UI driven conversation where it's, making sure people know where to go, or how to get information you need. We are working on another URL. We're calling it planetavastar.io. And that's going to be more our like library with all our how-tos, all of our stories. We're working on, we've been working on some different games and game thoughts and processes. Like all that information is going to be on Planet Avastar. So when you want information, you go to Planet Avastar. When you want to go get to the nitty gritty, create replicants, start cloning guys, create 3D characters and stuff like that, you got to be going to Avastars, the Avastars app site instead. So we're going to have a lot more documentation going forward, which is good. Because this one's a little bit interesting, right? Trying to wrap your head around what's happening.
Yeah, and for anybody that's been watching this whole time, if there's anything about the website that doesn't look intuitive or doesn't look like it will feel intuitive, or if you have any criticisms, let us know. We'll pass it on to our developers and our project director and see what they think. This product is for you guys. You guys are going to be the ones that are using it. You're the community, so you guys get to call the shots. So let us know if you see anything that you think could be presented better, or presented in a more digestible means. We'd be happy to pass that on up the chain of command.
Yeah. I mean, other than that, I'm trying to think of anything else to go through. I was able to pull a trait, and I created a replicant yesterday. So we have run through a couple tests already. See, I pulled a legendary trait the other day. That was hard. It's one of those like, oh man, do I really want to burn stuff? But then I was like, I don't want to. If I'm going to make a replicant, I want it to be something kind of funky or jives. So I created an epic one.
It's funny how the rarity spectrum has rearranged itself throughout the minting process of primes and the creation process of replicants, because the way that Avastars were made, legendary was the most scarce, the hardest to obtain rarity level of Avastar. But by the time seasons 1 through 5 were all minted out, epics were actually the most scarce. There were fewer epic rarity level Avastars than there were legendaries, which was a really interesting nuance in rarity. I'm not so sure how that looks now that we've got over 1,000 replicants created, but that would be an interesting metric to look up.
Oh, yeah. Well, cool. I think we've done pretty good at getting things across and trying to get it out here. I don't know if nobody has any other questions or whatever, we could probably call it and go back to the grindstone to figure out other stuff.
Questions, comments, concerns. This is your time, folks.
No, but that's all right. Well, thanks for coming out and being with us. I see you, Ballistic Banana. Thanks for coming, Dragonate's mom and Dragonate.
Yeah, and let us know if you guys have any questions moving closer to Marketplace launch. Obviously, we've got a little bit more work to do, but I hope that you're all looking as forward to this as I am, and I hope that you're all enjoying the euphoria of the Bitcoin and ETH pump that we're all definitely enjoying right now. It's about time. Hopefully, this is just the beginning, ladies and gentlemen. We're back.
Yeah.
We're so back.
Bitcoin summer. Let's go.
Let's go. Right on, everybody. Enjoy your first day of summer. Thank you so much for coming to hang out with us, and hopefully we will have an update soon about the official Marketplace launch. Thanks again.
Awesome. Catch y'all later.